So the critical thing here is we are trying to find out the sales performance of a company. Because at the end of the day, people get into business, people invest in business because they want to see return on investment. So if the sales are stronger, it's a great year for the company. If the sales are lagging, it's not a good year for the company. So when we asked the chief executive officers about 2020, and particularly Q2, Q3 numbers, bad news. And primarily because 80% of business leaders are expecting their annual revenue to decline this year. When we ran the same question in Q1, 75% indicated that they're having drops. Now, why is this a major stat to consider? Largely because there's going to be less cash generated in 2020. Q1, 75%, Q2, Q3 collectively, it's up 80%. Now that also cascades into the second question, real time. Those were perception numbers, but let's look at real time. When we asked the question to the same respondents, have you made or have you achieved your half-yearly results? A staggering 79% said no. So the bad news is businesses in Papua New Guinea are not making money. Financial performance, not good. Sales performance have dropped. So who's been hit? Well, it's largely the tourism sector. The tourism sector has seen massive decline, and that's no secret. The cruise ships aren't coming in. International travel is obviously heavily restricted, if not prohibited. So we're not seeing a clear strategy from government in looking at how domestic tourism can be used. Domestic tourism can save this important sector that's really hemorrhaging. So on the top of the list, we see that the tourism sector has shifted up from the second place in Q1 to the first place in a position where massive declines have happened, massive redundancies have happened, and these are some of the response that we have from the sector.
Well, most tourism operators may consider not reopening as we have been given no money to assist with no revenue. Our resort is in total shutdown and we are the lifeline of the community. Well, our company is closed 2020. Unless there is a significant change in tourism travel in 2021, we will no longer be operating in Papua New Guinea due to COVID-19. Support, communication and direction from PNG tour operators from PNG Tourism Promotion Authority has been non-existent. Tourism and travel in Madang have reduced to domestic travel, but now further restrictions have been implemented which reduce the already slow demand of travel without any light at the end of the tunnel. No testing of COVID-19 is being carried out in Madang, which places us in a very bad position to know exactly where we are, and this is just a disgrace.
Professional services, the retail and consumer goods, manufacturing, real estate, property and construction follow the end of that, the ranking from 1 to 6 on Q3 in the sectors that have had the challenging time in this period. Now, it's not all bad news. There is some good news. 51% of respondents are able to operate in the current environment. Now that is over 26% from what we received in Q1, where 34% indicated that they simply cannot function in this market. This is great news, and it's a testimony on two particular fronts. Number one, it does show that the measures applied by the National Control Center, the controller himself and the deputy controller, in allowing the market to self-regulate, businesses have adjusted well. There is still challenging features that we've seen on sales performance, but the fact is there is over 50% of businesses confident to operate in this market. That's an indication that this market is still open for business. The other good news that's also coming quite strongly is the import substitution sectors, especially in the manufacturing sectors. They've performed quite well. When we look at, for example, our friends from Ilimo, in the Ilimo milk, in the Ilimo dairy product range, they've been up 35% in Q1 and Q2 numbers. So that's an indication that these import substituted products are performing well. We've also seen that in the fast-moving consumer goods sectors, huge increases in their bottom line as well, and that's largely got to do with the fact that there are more people consuming these products right across the country. Sectors that locations that previously were not strong performers in their sales books, such as the Anga province and in the Highlands, we've seen the FMCG perform quite strongly. And of course, the services sector continues to be a major professional sector, continues to be a major sector that's performing quite strongly.